Canto 26. Summary. Following another invective against Florence, our pilgrim and his guide leave the 7th ditch and come to a place where they can see the inhabitants of the 8th. Here they meet the souls of Ulysses and Diomedes, the famous Greek counselors and warriors from the Trojan War. They are punished specifically for 3 acts: the Trojan horse, as related by Virgil in the Aeneid, which opened the gate by which Aeneas was forced to flee burning Troy; the clever means by which they convinced Achilles to leave Deidamia and his son by her to fight in the war, as related by Statius in his Achilleid; and their stealthy theft of the statue of Pallas Athena, again related in the Aeneid. It is worth noting that all of Dante's examples of Ulysses and Diomedes come from Roman sources and not directly from Homer. This shapes Dante's perception of the relative merits of these Greek heroes. From Dante's perspective, they are barbarians who violated sacred Troy. Therefore, each of the examples given are interpreted as instances of fraud, deceit, and trickery. This places them in the 8th circle of hell. More specifically, they are counselors, leading others astray through speech and rhetoric, as seen in Ulysses' story. This locates them in the 8th ditch of Malebolge. Here, sinners are consumed and hidden entirely by flame, so that no spiritual bodies are seen. Thus, only voices are heard. When Virgil asks the twin-headed flame to tell its story, it is the voice of Ulysses who tells with the tongue of fire how he came to his final end. He and his fellow sailors from of old journeyed west and passed the Straits of Gibraltar, where Hercules set up his boundary lines. Then they turned south and sailed for 5 months, coming to a new land, later discovered to be Mount Purgatory. But before they can land, the new land sends a tempest that creates a maelstrom at the pleasure of another, that is, God, that destroys them, sending them down to their current location. On this note, the canto ends. Canto 26. False Counselors. Rejoice, Florence, for you are so august that you beat your wings over sea and land, and your name spreads itself abroad through hell. Among the other thieves I discovered 5 of your citizens, whence upon me comes shame. You rise there to no great honor. But if in early morning one dreams true, in a little while you will suffer through what Prato and the rest desire for you. And were it done, it would not be too soon. May it be, since it must, the heavier it will weigh on me, the older I grow. We left there, and along the steps above, made from the rocky jags we climbed before, my leader mounted and pulled me after, continuing along the lonely way between the splinters and rocks of the ridge. Without hands, our feet could go no further. Then I ached. Even now I ache again when I focus my mind on what I saw, and rein in my genius more than is wont, that I might not rush its guiding virtue, that I might not rob myself of the gift, whether a good star or a better thing gave this good to me. How much the peasant, resting himself on a knoll at that time when he that lights the world least hides his face, when the fly gives way to the mosquito, sees fireflies along the low valley, perhaps there where he harvests and harrows. With so many flickers the whole 8th ditch was shining. I noticed this as soon as I was there where the ditch's floor appeared. As he who with the bears avenged himself saw the chariot of Elijah leave, when the horses rose steeply to heaven, such that he could not follow with his eyes, nor could he see anything but the flame alone, like a small cloud rising upwards. So each one moves itself along the throat of the trench, none of them showing the theft, and yet each of the flames steals a sinner. I was standing on the bridge trying to see, such that had I not caught hold of a rock, I would have fallen down without being pushed. My leader, seeing me so very eager, said to me, "Within the flames are spirits. Each one wraps himself with what scorches him." "My master," I answered, "by hearing you I am the more certain, but already I noticed this, and so wished to ask you, who is in that flame so sundered above that comes, seeming to rise from the pyre where Eteocles with his brother was placed. He answered me, There within are punished Ulysses and Diomedes, and thus as one they go to vengeance as to wrath. From within their flame they grieve the ambush with the horse that made a gate through which left the Romans' courteous seed. There one weeps the art for which Didymia, though dead, still aches for Achilles. There one bears pain for the Palladium. I said, Master, if the spirits within these sparks can speak, I fervently pray, and will pray again, that my prayer might be valued 1,000, that you do not prohibit my waiting until the horned flame might come over here. See how much I bend toward it with desire. And he said to me, Your prayer is worthy of much praise, and therefore I approve it. But make sure to hold your tongue in silence. Leave it to me to speak. I understand your desire. It is possible they could, because they are Greeks, reject your own words. When the flame had arrived at that spot where it seemed to my leader the time and place, I heard him speak to them in this manner. O you, there that are two within one flame, if I merited of you while I lived, if I merited of you, great or small, when in the world I wrote my high verses, do not move on, but let one of you tell where it was that, being lost, he went to die. Then the greater horn of the ancient flame began to shake itself, and to murmur, as when one is made weary by the wind. The tip of the flame wagging here and there as if it were a tongue that was speaking, thereafter threw a voice outward and said, When I departed from Circe, who kept me for more than a year near Gaeta, before Aeneas gave it that title, neither the soft-heartedness of a son, nor the piety due an old father, nor the debt of love which ought to have made Penelope content, could quench within the fire I had to become an expert of the world, of human vice and value. I journeyed forth on the high open sea, alone with one boat in that little band by which I had never been deserted. I saw one shore and another till Spain, Morocco, and the Sardinian island, and others bathed on all sides by the sea. I and my companions were old and slow when we came upon that narrow outlet where Hercules marked his boundary line, so that man might not take himself beyond. I left Seville on my right, already I had left Ceuta on the other side. "O my brothers," I said, "through 100,000 perils we have come to the west, to this very ephemeral vigil of the sensations that are left to us. Do not wish to deny experience of the unpeopled worlds beyond the sun. Consider your fathers and grandfathers. You were not made to live as animals, but to seek after virtue and knowledge." I made all my companions so eager for the journey with this small oration I could barely restrain them thereafter. And turning our stern toward the morning sun, of oars we made wings to our foolish flight, always gaining more on our left-hand side. Already the night beheld all the stars of that other pole, and ours was so low that it did not rise up above the sea. 5 times brightened again, and as many gone dark had the light from beneath the moon after having entered through the high pass, when there appeared to us a mountain, dark on account of the distance, and to me it seemed I had not seen any so high. We cheered ourselves, but soon it turned to tears, for from the new land a tempest was born, and it struck the front corner of our boat. 3 times it turned us with all the waters, and at the 4th it raised the stern upwards as it pleased another, and shot the prow downwards, till the sea covered us once more.